Alright, welcome. So this video is going to be about how to make meditation fun. So typically when most of us sit down to meditate, we're told to focus on the breath. Just noticing the sensations of the breath from moment to moment as we breathe in. Sensations of breathing in at the tip of the nostril, sometimes at the abdomen. As we breathe out, noticing how that feels. And whenever our attention wanders from the breath, we're told to bring our attention back. And in this way we build a sensitivity to the actual sensations of the breath, because it's made up of many, many disparate sensations, not just one. And it also teaches us to concentrate our mind. So whenever our mind wanders, we can gently accept that it's wandered and bring it back to the breath. So this is one common way to meditate. Other common ways, just paying attention to openly to your moment-to-moment experience, what you're hearing, seeing, tasting, touching, even the thoughts you're thinking and the feelings you're having. So just noticing those without and objectively and passively observing them without getting too drawn into them. And this is really what mindfulness is, right? It's just this idea of this objective observer that's noticing all these different sensations that are coming up. This can get really boring, at least for me. So over the years of my meditation practice, I found ways to work with that boredom. Sometimes it's appropriate to actually look at the boredom itself. When you feel bored, where exactly are you feeling bored? Can you be the subjective observer noticing that you have a feeling of boredom? Okay, where does that boredom exist? Where does the feeling exist? All feelings actually exist within the body somewhere, even really subtle feelings. Can we pinpoint where that feeling is? Can we get a sense of what that's like? How does it affect the sense of space around us? How does it affect our thinking? So we can actually get really interested in getting bored, right? So that's one strategy we might take. We may even have the intention of doing a sit like that, focusing on what it is like to be bored and working through that. But there's more we can do too. So in general, if you take any object that you could be focusing on, so for example, my visual field, we could take that as a whole focus, a whole point of focus. And I notice as I say that, my focus shifts to my visual field, right? I'm really noticing what's in front of me. So take your vision, for example, your visual field. So can you put your attention on that and just keep it there and just noticing any fluctuations in the visual field? So I notice as I'm moving my head now, the camera very subtly shifts position because I'm moving, and so and I'm actually noticing it, right? That's where my attention is. And in this way, we can just notice, and I see my hands have been raised now, so I'm noticing my hands have come into my visual field. And just to make that the object of my meditation. And whenever I notice, okay, there's a sound over there, I notice that and bring it back to my visual field, right? So in general, we can take any object of meditation. It could be a whole sensory modality, like your sight or your sound. It could be anything within a modality. So for example, I could just make this object of meditation my camera. And I could focus on the camera itself, right? And so now I focus on the camera itself, my visual field starts to contract a bit. I'm really noticing the details of the camera, right? I can see where all the writing is on the camera. I can see where there's a bit of dust on the camera. And I notice that my attention kind of zeroes in on that. So now the camera is my object of meditation, right? I've moved it to something else. And now anything that distracts me from that, I let go of and put my attention back on the camera. Now, if you're going to do this, it's good to not jump too much, too quickly. To keep yourself honest, you can pick any object to focus on, to concentrate on, and to break down in this way. By breakdown, I just mean noticing the details of the object. So this camera no longer appears as just the camera, the concept camera. It appears now as a lot of detail, right? So noticing the detail and noticing when my attention wanders from that is the practice. And we can keep ourselves honest by not moving this object of meditation too much. So maybe we say I spend 30 minutes, or maybe 15 minutes on one thing, and then it could be even 5 minutes on one thing, and then I consciously move my attention to the next thing. So now the sound around me, noticing just the sounds in the room, the sound of my voice, sounds of the traffic outside. So as I move my attention around in this way, I'm keeping myself honest by, I'm not just constantly moving it. I'm trying to stay with one thing at a time for a little while and then moving it to the next thing. But this is the general principle: object, and pick an object in any modality: sight, sound, feelings, emotions, thoughts. Keep your attention on that. Okay, that's one way to mix things up. But it gets even more interesting because we can also practice. So this is observing what's there, which is great, but we also can create things in our experience too. So, for example, if I want to create, I'll just pick the example of connecting with the other over here, the audience member who's watching this. So I'll connect with you. Now, this is also obviously a creative act because I don't know you. I've never met you. I don't know you watching this, but I can create with the sense of another person. I can actually connect with the sense of another person being on the other side of this recording, right? On the other side, watching this. And I can connect with that sense. And now when I do this, I notice there's a sense of connection opening up between us. It's like a space is opening up. And I wonder if you can notice something in your experience as I say this. Notice if something is shifting for you a little bit. Maybe the sense that I'm here with you right now and not just something you're watching. But whatever it is, just notice that. Now that's something we've created, right? It didn't exist before, we just made it, right? We opened something up. Now we can take that as our object of meditation. So we can focus on this sense of connection, on what that feels like, and explore that. And we can stay with it. We could take this now as the object of meditation and let everything else that could distract us from that, just gently bring our attention back to the feeling of being connected right now. Okay, so there's many different ways we can so not only can we just pick anything in our experience, right? We can pick anything as our object, which makes things super interesting. Then it's not just the breath all the time. You can focus on anything you like. Not only can we do that, we can also create experiences, senses, like the sense of connection, but also create feelings. So if I want to create a feeling of just joy and like I'm really happy to be recording right now, I'm just feeling into it. Like it feels so good to be making this, and I hope it's of service. And as I say that, I'm noticing like a really pleasant feeling throughout my body, and I've created this feeling, right? And you can probably see on my face there's a difference, there's a different energy there. So I've created this, and now, okay, so I can focus on that. So I've created the emotion of joy, and now I can let that joy I can feel into that. Notice where the sensations are in my body, noticing any thoughts that come with that, noticing how my sense of space around me has changed, this kind of thing. And anytime I'm distracted from this feeling of joy, just bring my attention back to it. It's as simple as that. We can create whole things, right? And this is just creating feelings, right? Creating feelings or senses. Let's go even one step further. So we can actually create a whole concept, so an entire world, and make that okay, we'll go through this and make that our object of meditation, right? So like, what kind of world can we imagine? So let's imagine we're in a world where everybody loves meditation. And so imagine a world right now where you love meditation. Where you wake up every day, you love to do your meditation practice, whatever that is. You have so much fun doing it. It's enlivening, it's creative, it's playful, can be really disciplined and serious too. Just imagine that, make that real for yourself. So imagine that. Now that experience you're having, I'm doing this as well. So yeah, it's a lot of fun in this world, right? I'm constantly kind of changing my technique and focusing on things and just exploring and creating experiences, and I'm developing my meditation concentration and having insights and all this kind of thing. So you can, just make that real for yourself, and then make that the object of meditation. So make that activity of sustaining that vision or that thought, make that the object of meditation. Now we're getting a bit out there, right? You can hold entire, and in fact they do this. You can create, these are not. Maybe this is a bit novel the way I'm presenting this, but none of these things are new. These have been around in the Buddhist traditions for many, many, many years, and the monks would intentionally focus their mind on a vision of how they want to be, right? So this idea of creating this thought, and even deities, right? So imagining themselves as deities, who embody a certain spirit. Right, so embody a certain sense, a certain spirit, and that would be their practice. They'd get creative with that, right? So so you can see there's a lot more than just following the breath. You can really get creative, and you can take ownership of your meditation practice. So don't worry if you don't really enjoy following the breath so much, and you want to do something else and try it, so long as you're keeping yourself honest, right? As long as you know when your mind is wandering from the thing that you're focusing on. And so long as you're exploring, then, and feeling, and just really experiencing whatever comes up, you're keeping yourself honest. So I'm not trying, and the reason I say that is because I don't want to, I really do think meditation should be more fun and playful and experimental and creative, and it's also a training. So we can push ourselves too. We can discipline ourselves to try certain things and really just explore. So that's it for now. I hope some of those ideas will be useful. Have a try picking some objects and just having fun with it. Let go of all, like, of a sense of you having to do it right or doing it properly, or it's not working if you don't do a certain, like, certainly certain techniques will be good for certain things. Different techniques have different strengths and weaknesses, but if you're having fun with it and you're playing with it and you're doing it a lot, then that's very likely to outweigh like any benefit you might get from picking the right technique, right? If you're just doing it a lot, but you're having fun with it, it not only is going to mean you do it a lot, so it's going to be great for you, but it's also going to mean you have a lot of fun with it. And so I think it's a good thing to do and a good place to start. So that's it for now. More meditation videos will be on the way shortly. and more videos of all kinds. So hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you very soon.